1. Let me set the stage. I was in one of the big home improvement chain stores. You know, the one with the big blue logo of a house? There are a few people involved. Me, of course, OC, other customer, manager, and of course, Karen. First, I was in a bit of a hurry, as I had a pretty busy schedule that day, and just wanted to get in and out as quickly as possible. Well, I walked around for what seemed like forever, pacing every aisle, and I could not find what I was looking for. By the way, just a common water filter, from what I recall. I also did not come across any employees out on the floor, as the only ones I saw were checking people out. I walked down one aisle and saw a Hispanic man, race will be relevant later, grabbing some items off the shelf. He is clearly not an employee, as he is well dressed in nice jeans and a polo. The only reason he first gave me pause was the radio on his belt, but clearly figured out it was not one from the store, as they used some kind of smartphone-looking radio. In desperation, I said, hell, he might know where my item may be. He had the swagger of a man who has clearly been in this store a few times, so we begin. Excuse me, sir, I know you do not work here, but by any chance, have you any idea where the water filters are? They seem to have moved them again, and I cannot locate any employees. I think I know they only keep one employee at a time to work the entire store. I know, it gets very frustrating. These corporate folks are always looking for ways to save a buck and kill customer service in the process. Sad but true. Yes, I just picked up some water filters the other day here. Let me show you where they moved to. Oh, thank you. You really don't have to. Just point me in the direction. I'm sure I can get it from there. Small talk as I followed him to the location, and he pointed down the aisle directly at the item. At this point, we're both standing in front of the store facing down the aisle, when from a distance we hear, "Hey you, Jose, Juan, Carlos." She muttered about half a dozen Spanish names out. We don't realize she's hollering at us, and just finish up our bullshitting. By this point, she's standing right behind us and gets up right in OC's ear, and, not kidding, about 2 inches away. "Did you hear me holler for you? I need some assistance. Do you speak English?" I turn around, seeing the typical soccer mom Karen that was dressed like she was about to go out on a night on the town, as well as out of place in a hardware store. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't work here, but I can help you with something." Guess she didn't hear the "I don't work here" part, as she goes off on a rant about effing lazy-ass Mexicans. She added a few more racial slurs. "I've been hollering for you for a while, and you can help your own kind out, but not if you're white." I'm confused, as I am white and getting pretty angry at this point, as I've already spent longer in here than I wanted to. Now I'm dealing with this. "Excuse me, but you need to calm the fuck down, bitch." In a forceful manner, OC swipes his arm across my chest and pushes me backward in the "I got this" fashion, still playing it all calm, cool, and collected. "I am sure if you can calm down for 1 minute, we can get this resolved. Can you please tell me about your problem?" He then starts talking about lazy-ass Mexicans again, and all the jobs they take and not wanting to work. "Where's your damn manager?" Not knowing when to shut up, I say under my breath, "Bitch." She lunges for me, slaps me right across my face hard as hell. Like some kind of ninja, OC grabs Karen's arm, spins her around so fast all I saw was her face planted on the floor with a knee in her back. While holding one of Karen's arms, he grabs a radio and makes a call requesting an officer to our location. The manager comes running to see what all the fuss is about, screaming, "Get off that lady right now! We have called the cops!" By this time he already has his radio put away, and had the badge in his hand and flashes it to the manager. "I've already called for a car." He looks at me with one of those "please say yes" looks. "Would you like to press charges?" "Of course I do," as I rub my face, and I'm not kidding. I have not been hit that hard in years, and I swear I saw stars. OC slowly got Karen back to her feet, and you can tell by this point she knows she has messed up bad, as she just stood there and did not say a word. "Could you tell me what happened?" OC told the whole story. A few minutes later, the patrol car arrived, and OC, manager Karen, and the cop moved outside the store. I stayed back and decided to grab my filters while they get it all sorted out. As I walk out the store, I see Karen being loaded into the back of the car in handcuffs. Let me tell you, that was very satisfying to see. He had me sign some stuff, and when he noticed my last name, we found out he is good friends with a lot of my family. 2. I'm Danish, and this took place in Denmark. So this takes place back when I was 16 years of age, and had just started my job as a cashier down at the local supermarket. We offered to withdraw cash to a certain point above what the customer had bought in goods, which converted was about $100. On to the story. This was my very second time working as a cashier, and the first time I had been a cashier without a trainer helping me, so I was still new to how the machine worked. A middle-aged lady wanted to withdraw $100 above the amount she had bought groceries for, and I happily complied. I pressed $100 in, and the machine for some reason didn't allow it. No problem, I thought. I'll just press the $100 in again, and the machine allowed it. The lady put in her card, paid for everything, and then asked for the receipt, which, to my horror, said she had paid $100,100 above, meaning I had to pay out over $100,000 in cash. My dumbass immediately notified her that we probably didn't have that much cash in the registry, and she was, for obvious reasons, rather flustered, and demanded to see my manager while yelling and screaming at me. As this was my second day at the job, I was rather scared that I was going to get fired already. Introducing good guy boss, Mike. Mike came down to assess the situation, and the customer and I explained the situation to him, all while she was insulting me and basically demanding me to get fired, which in hindsight is probably not that unreasonable a reaction. Mike calmly looks her in the eye and tells her he will fix it and she can go home without a worry. Hearing this, she began to scream at Mike. "How could I ever possibly go home without a worry? When I just withdrawn $100,000 in a supermarket? Are you stupid or something?" This very clearly annoyed Mike, and he immediately replied, "Yes, because I know how banks work. Now go home." He was doing his very best to not start a yelling competition with the customer. She begrudgingly, after some more arguing, went on her merry way home. At the end of my shift, I was called in by Mike to his office, where I was absolutely certain I was going to get the boot. What actually happened ended up being one of my fondest memories from retail. Basically, he immediately told me that this was not my fault, and it was her own fault that she had paid the $100,000 and could see on the screen the amount that was going to be paid. After that, we spent a solid 10 to 15 minutes laughing about how red her face had been and the whole situation. I was also informed that the bank is straight up just not allowed the transaction, and it had been fixed within an hour or so of the incident. I didn't end up getting fired and ended up working there a few additional years, but I will never forget the day in which I withdrew $100,000 in a supermarket, and how amazing a boss I had at the time. 3. I worked in a large department store back before there was Etsy or any similar service for artists to open up independent shops. I worked in the back office administration piece, not out on the floor. One day, one of the checkout girls called me over and said they were trying to scan a lady out, but one of her items didn't have a barcode. I figured maybe it had been stuck on somewhere strange, but checked it out, and I didn't see anything. In fact, I didn't even recognize the item when I looked to see where I could find a second one to scan. And I knew the store pretty well. It was an absolutely hideous piece of almost homemade-looking costume jewelry, not like anything we offered. I thought maybe we had a new supplier I was unaware of, so looked at the tag, and lo and behold, it was a hand-drawn price tag, so definitely not ours. There were a lot of shops in the area, so I figured someone bought it nearby and it slipped out of their bag, or they set it down by accident, and this customer assumed we were selling it because of the price tag. I figured whoever left it would be back for it soon. It was way overpriced, $80 for the one necklace. So, brought it to customer service and returned to business as usual, of counting the minutes to close and regretting my life choices. But as the day marched on, a few more people appeared with similar stuff. Some more jewelry mostly, one with a sweater that was actually a sweater we did sell, but with huge garish rhinestones added on that were definitely not a SKU we offered. People kept coming to checkout with lots of things we actually sold, like makeup, mirrors, handbags, and shoes, but all with unnecessary rhinestones, sequins, and beads glued on that definitely didn't come from us or the original manufacturer. So finally, the manager just had staff do a sweep of the store and collect anything with rhinestones on it or anything with a handmade price tag and put them in the lost and found. Though we did wonder how someone's personal belongings would become scattered all throughout the store and didn't think they could have really been accidentally lost. Our working theory was that someone got in a fight with their shopping companion and did it out of spite, like maybe a couple broke up or a sibling rivalry or something. But we'd resigned ourselves to the fact that we'd never know. Our lost and found was a single basket about the size of a TSA security bin at the airport, and there was so much of this stuff that it overflowed past the top. So after a couple days we dumped it all in the trash. A few days after that, a middle-aged woman comes in decked out head to toe, in sequins and glitter and rhinestones with neon makeup, like a 6th grader would wear to their first school dance, and asks to speak to the person in charge, identifying herself as one of your partners. I knew we were about to get some answers to the other day's mystery. I stopped all my work. I was ready to hear how and why she ended up leaving half her wardrobe scattered around, and why anyone would voluntarily dress like that after 40. So I listened to her going at it with customer service, and it became clear she had bought things here, maybe unclear if she'd even paid for them or not, or if she just used things from here without paying for them. She then bedazzled them, either by purchasing them or covertly bedazzling them in store without buying the items. We never did find out which. She then put them back on the shelves and now expected to collect a check after they were purchased, at an upsell price that she'd added on with her handmade price tag. Apparently she had done this in a few stores and was going around with business cards claiming her designs, bedazzled versions of department store products, were sold in big department stores like Karen's Fab Designs, as seen on the shelves of Macy's, Nordstrom's, JCPenney's, and more. The manager explained this was not a consignment store and she couldn't just leave altered products here for people to buy and expect to split the money with us. She was sure we must just not understand that she had improved the items with rhinestones, thereby making them more valuable, and was shocked when the realization set in that we understood what she was saying, but still didn't want her doing it. She was irate, offended, threatened to break off the partnership that we did not want and did not know we had, and eventually demanded the stuff back. The most senior manager on the floor had come over by this point, not because she had asked to speak to the person in charge, but because she was causing a scene and none of us were sure what to do about being on her business card. Plus, everyone, regardless of seniority, was equally curious about the rhinestones mystery. And he explained we'd gotten rid of the stuff because she didn't bother to explain this arrangement to any of us, and we aren't a pawn shop where you can huck personal goods. A major argument ensued. She gave us two choices. Go through the dumpster and salvage the things you threw out, or refund me the adjusted, read upcharged, cost of the items you threw out. The manager then gave her two choices, leave or be escorted out by security. The manager did worry that there could be repercussions for throwing out all her stuff since technically, corporate policy was that we were supposed to hang on to lost and found items for several business days. So he offered her some coupons to end things on a good note. She didn't take them and screamed at us that we needed to replace everything and pay for the new material to re-bedazzle them. At that point, the manager flatly insisted she leave. She didn't. Security had to escort her out. To our total shock, she kept telling security she worked here, and really confused them because they'd never seen her, so weren't sure if it was because she was crazy, or if it was because she was from corporate, i.e. someone who could fire them. We had to explain to security and her that in fact she did not work here and this partnership was non-existent. Again, explaining that she couldn't sell her own products here in our department store. She kept saying, "We can negotiate you a higher cut. That was just my starting offer." So after a bit, the manager just gave up on explaining and stopped engaging with her. She tried to come in every day for a week after that, to the point that we had a security guard stand right near the door to redirect her before she could even step over the threshold. She got in one more time through the fire door, which set an alarm off, and we had to evacuate the store, so we let her know loud and clear that the next time the police would handle her. I guess some other stores had already made good on that promise, so she stopped coming. But she kept doing this elsewhere around town for several weeks, until she was blacklisted by every store from the highest-end boutiques to the dollar store. I don't know if she didn't understand how stores worked or just didn't care, but she really created a lot of extra work for us. I will say this, many people were coming to the register to purchase her items, and that department store is bankrupt now, so she probably has a lucrative Etsy-type store, and the last laugh. 4. So I, 26-year-old guy, got out of work not long ago and decided to get a few things on my list at Walmart. I stopped at Walmart and browsed the aisles. Halfway through my list, I heard someone behind me saying if I can help them. I turned around and there, behold, EM, a late 20s Karen, with her ED, looked somewhere in his mid-40s. "Oh, sorry, I don't work here." Without hesitation, she scoffed and said, "Sure you do. You have the uniform on and you're going through aisles stalking. So don't waste my time with the 'I don't work here' speech, because it's not going to work on me." The ED is shaking his head in agreement, and EM continues with the EM rant. "We're trying to find this toy that the Walmart app said they have in stock." She showed me the toy on her phone and proceeds to rant, but she hasn't noticed is that her app is in a different state, and I mentioned it to her, but the EM is so stubborn and said, "No, the app said it's here, and it's in stock. I want to get this for my precious child," the kid sitting in the cart. EM's voice echoed for what seemed like forever. An employee showed up because of the combination that's being unfolded. ED complained to the employee that I was no help and refused to find their toy. EM showed the employee the app with the toy, and after a few minutes the employee collected himself and figured out what was happening. The employee first told them that I don't work here, and second that the toy isn't in stock in this store. She was fuming and said something along the lines of, "The app said it's in stock, so don't fuck with me, and secondly, this guy does work here." As soon as she said that, she reached for my lanyard, pulling it, and I felt like I was being choked. "He has your employee tag." The actual employee said, "Ma'am, that is not our employee tag, and he works for a different company." She turned to look at the tag, and she was getting more red by the second when she realized that I don't work here. EM and ED retreat in defeat, and the employee sighs in relief and apologized to me. I thanked him and went and finished my list. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but there's still time to go in this video, so obviously not. As I waited at the checkout, the line was pretty long. Out of nowhere, I felt a huge pull on my lanyard that made me choke and gag for air. Seconds later, I regained my breath and faced whoever pulled the lanyard so hard. Without surprise, I noticed it was EM and ED, before I can utter another word. "You should go to hell, you furry fuck," and points at my lanyard. I have furry pins and some of my fursona pins. Turns out she saw the pins when she tried to show the employee that I worked there. "You should just die so you won't corrupt my son with your furry porn shit." I told them being a furry is not horrible and it helps a lot of people in charity. People in line next are watching the scene unfold. "Furries are about sex with animals, and for bad people who have no life whatsoever." "No, we don't." People always look to the bad side and spread horrible rumors about furries, and they're so stubborn to not even look at the good things we've done. Before I can continue, EM yanked the lanyard off my neck, tossed it to the ground and stomped on it. ED joined in as well. People around us are shell-shocked at what was going on. I'm not a violent person, and not well built in the body, but boy, I was pissed and wanted to knock both of them out. Luckily, an elderly lady snatched my lanyard off the ground. ED and EM both looked at her and said, "Drop that tainted shit, it's inappropriate, and should be burned so no kids can look at it and get any ideas about furries. All they need to know is what the internet says about them. Elderly lady handed me my broken pins and lanyard and stood between both me and them. Edie isn't having it and starts yelling, and EM is talking to other people about how bad the furry fandom is and that we should stay away from them. Gladly security came, and I finally got through the checkout, and just before I can leave, one last surprise struck me hard in the back of my head. I almost fell and took a second for my eyes to focus. Then I noticed there's a large can of beans on the ground almost next to me. Everyone is silent, and mouths gaped open trying to process what happened. Turns out EM tossed a can of beans at me before disappearing out of the store. I touched where the area of the beans impacted and I am bleeding. Didn't take long for the ambulance and police to arrive. I gave my statement, as did the others that had witnessed the event. EM and ED are nowhere to be found as they took off in a hurry. I'm okay, my head still hurts. Who the hell would go to this length just because I'm a furry? Being a furry is not horrible, and we have our daily lives just like everyone else. And no, we do not have sex with animals. It's just ridiculous and sick. It's funny how people can only see what's on the internet, and only see the horrible side of the furry fandom and assume it's fact, and not experience the good things first-handed. A lot of bad things that people say about furries are just rumors that won't stop and continue to spread, and it ruins people's lives to the point of driving them to committing suicide because of haters, and the haters encourage it. I know most haters are adults and we can't really do much other than block them, but there's children ages 8 to 16 as well promoting these hatreds and suicide. And I just wish the parents would see what they're doing and put a stop to it. But we can dream. Even if someone stops being a furry, it will still continue. We choose to be furries because we love to express how we are very similar to cosplay and other types of conventions, including Star Wars. We stick together and help one another, especially for those who might be in a bad place because of haters. We help charity, hospitals for children cheer up, conventions that non-furry people can experience, and we also have furry children as well as the non-furry parents who are proud of it. Sorry about the rant. Just things happen and I'm fuming from the event. But seriously, we know it's not all rainbows and butterflies. No one can escape the hate. It's life. But hopefully we can reduce the hater population by helping them see the good side of furries and not get fixated on the horrible side. Update. It's been a few days and I haven't heard from the police yet, but I'll let you know when the police notify me. 5. One of the jobs I've worked was at a choose-your-own-ingredients type of place. I tend to work on Sundays because I'm free and most people do not want to work that day due to the large amount of both people and drama. A couple of years ago, while at work, I got a call for a pickup order. The business can be named Build a Meal. Build a Meal on Fake Street, this is me, how can I help you?
I would like to place an order for pickup.
Yes, ma'am. What can I get started for you?
I would like a quesadilla with chicken.
What kind of tortilla would you like? We have wheat flour. She cuts me off before I can finish.
I would like wheat.
A bit annoyed, but still need to finish getting information. Okay, what type of cheese would you like? We have mixed or Monterey Jack cheese.
Mixed. Is there anything else I can get on there besides chicken and cheese?
Yes, ma'am. There's rice, beans, guac.
Do you have tomatoes?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like that.
This conversation continued, with me asking if she wanted something, then her cutting me off. I kept my cool the whole time and kept my customer service attitude the whole time. Once I was done taking her order, I made it, since I was the only one free at the time. She came in and was just as snappy in person, gave me her money with no greeting or anything, but she paid then left. Then a couple weeks later on a Sunday, she called me and gave me the same attitude. This happened for a couple more times before I memorized her order, and when she called again, I made sure I had it just correct. Bam, on Fake Street, this is me, how can I help you?
I would like to place an order for pickup.
Is this Snappy Lady?
Yes.
You want a quesadilla with mixed cheese, chicken, pinto beans, and tomatoes only, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it will take about 10 minutes to make it.
Okay.
She hangs up. I proceed to make her order, and when I see her walking in, grab her order before she asks, and ask her to swipe her card. She is silent almost the whole time. When I give her her receipt, she speaks.
What is your name?
I'm me. And I point to my name tag. A bit confused and scared.
Thank you very much, me.
She leaves, and I'm a bit confused as well as happy that this lady, who almost always is short and the most unfriendly person I've met, asked me for my name and thanked me. She is now a regular and one of my friendliest customers I have. What I learned from her was that you shouldn't judge people right away, and that it takes some time for them to warm up to you. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, number 104. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use and send in stories for use in this video. If you yourself have a story you'd like to send in, then please do send it along to kingofthecities@gmail.com. That's kingofthecities@gmail.com. Doesn't have to be specifically retail, I just like to mention it when I've done subscriber stories. Good way for me to remember. Right, let's see, when's this planned to go up? This is planned to go up for Monday. I'm hoping to have True Scary ready for Wednesday. I've got a few already, as recording this, so hopefully I've got enough to do one. And we'll just, when I'm running low on stories, we'll stick to doing the True Scary on midweek. It seems quite happy there, so we'll do that. Right, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.